Yeah.
Compared to you as zucchinis.
Yeah.
And not everyone can make bread because there'll be too much bread.
Yeah.
So it all equalises out, and schools will learn that they need to diversify to different things, and it can all be a learning thing. The principal can be the principal gardener, but you know what I mean? It's all about, but everything will be...
cooperation.
It's all about cooperation. And what happens is you'll know people from other schools, and what happens is that if schools do it correctly, or if anybody does it correctly, you won't send your chief across to go and take over, you know, or we're going to take over all the schools and run all this fucking fun.
Yeah.
You send the students to go and do the bartering. The students come back with a bad deal.
Yeah.
And that's the economics class.
Yeah.
You know, but like...
Yeah. No, I think it can relate to every single part of, like,
life.
learning.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that's needed. Like, we keep saying, like, everything we're doing now, especially in education, and the whole economic system is so fucking disconnected from actually what really matters in the world and what's really...
But of course, you don't need to go across there. What you do is you go on the internet and you say, well, you know, St. Bart's school's got 30 tonne of grain. So they've had a really good bumper season.
Yeah.
Grain prices are down. So that's when you get into older school, you know, and that's where...
And then once you sit out their backyard and realise they've got some money.
No, but imagine these kids... but imagine these kids coming out of school. They can now work in trade, they can work in sustainability, they can work in English, they can work in maths, they're more empowered than someone who just went through the courses.
Yeah.
And it's better for all learning abilities, whether you be dyslexic, Down syndrome, not that dyslexic and Down syndrome are the same kind of people, but you know what I mean? Or intelligent, or whatever your learning type, it's hands-on. It's hands-on. You're not reading it out of a book, you're experiencing
That's
it.
what I mean. And
it's the human experience.
That's sort of what brings us all to this. Like, we would not be having these sort of discussions at any point of what we do in any of these podcasts if everyone was self-sustainable. If the world went to shit tomorrow and everyone just went, we'll just fucking...
Self-sufficient.
We'll just do it all ourselves.
Do you mean self-sufficient?
Self-sufficient.
I'm sure everyone's self-sustainable.
Yeah.
They eat and shit and stuff like that.
Self-sufficient. Sorry, the word's been thrown around a lot, alright? You fuck.
Imagine how the world would be if Australia had adopted this philosophy, let's say. Just in schools. After school, you can do whatever you like. It's just a school thing. But then a war happened. Everyone would know what to do.
What do you mean?
Well, everyone could grow. Everyone can make food.
That's what I'm talking about. But like, that's almost what I say. Yeah. That's almost what I talk about. The whole, we call it
a war between the schools would be awful. A water bomb war.
A water bomb war.
And like water piss off. Andrew Wanker.
But the whole is what we call it, the connect, is the disconnect that people don't know how to fucking look after themselves anymore because we rely too heavily that everything's going to remain the same and everything's fucking lovely where we are and we don't really need to deal with anything, you know, because corporations and maximum profit industries just look after all of this shit.
We rely on the production line, which we have absolutely no connection to any part of the production line except for the end of it where we purchase it.
Well, you know, there's series out there saying
what goes on in the whole
big is bad. You know, big is bad. As soon as you get these mass production animal fucking factory farms, you know, you've got... look up, everyone watching this, look up chicken fucking conveyor belt or chicken suction cap. Look, there's literally
because we're going to be talking about that on Friday.
There's
so
literally these chicken things in, you know, over in, you know, less developed countries where animal rights aren't as important as like human rights are still being able to trying to get sorted out. You know, there's these suction things that just suck up these baby chickens and just like suck all the ones that they don't need, and then they just go through and then they just get churned up alive, and it's like what the fuck?
Well, they're a commodity, aren't they?
Well, they are. When you can't look at, it's sort of like if you can't look after yourself, you can't look after anything else.
Do you appreciate the thing is that they don't appreciate life.
Mm.
Their
life isn't the fucking
how much chicken
best.
do we need to eat? Like, how much beef do we need to eat? How many fruit and vegetables do we need to eat? Are we eating too much?
I need to eat beef. I haven't eaten beef in fucking 3 weeks. In 2 weeks, but 3 weeks.
Oh, I don't really buy.
But I wouldn't mind a steak once a week. You know,
do you have
but I do like
meat-free Monday?
If you talk,
we don't.
We don't
have a specific meat-free day. We have vegetarian meals.
Yeah, we have a couple a week. Yeah,
we usually eat fish.
Is that vegetarian?
No, well, it is to some people. I've dated a vegetarian once and she ate fish. Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian. I'll have the fish, please. And I'm like, no, you're not, bitch.
Depends on what you're vegetarian for. But like, I just try and eat as minimal amount of meat as possible to impact on the animals and the environment that I know it does.
Well, and the thing is with, when you look at land animals and the way that they're farmed in mass amounts and the stress that they have to go through, with our limited information, fish are probably less stress prone than most land animals because we need to fucking nurture them more.
Well, look, one thing I say about
nurture land animals.
One thing, and when we talk about commodities, is that meat's a commodity, we export it. I think that exporting meat is because it's cheaper for them to buy Australian cattle is wrong. You should only produce enough meat for eating for your population.
Yeah. But what's the population?
And if you...
Where's the border?
And what happens is that people... Well, the border is Australia at the moment.
Yeah,
right?
At the moment.
Well, at the moment. Though. And the thing is, if we are going to say, well, do you know what? We also need to feed Indonesia and Singapore. Well, then Indonesia and Singapore need to become Australia. We need to and then we all need to become what I call Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't have wars. We all just do what we do for each other.
We don't have Israel or Jewish problems. We don't have fucking
If you don't want to eat meat, if you don't want to eat pork because it's against religion, you don't eat it.
Yeah, we don't.
See, I think
the only problems we have in this world are human.
And I'm ignorant by saying this, but of course.
I think a big problem is that it seems like globalization is a big problem for everything because. What we've done is we've extended our reach in the world I think I've talked about this last week maybe, in trade and economics. And so, yes, we can export and import certain products and we share on that level. But the thing is, though, that none other part of our life we share with each other. So we don't share with each other the rights in our country or how we feel about something in our country or our cultures. All we share is the material aspect and the economy. And I think that is a huge disconnect with people. And that's what's causing all these problems. If you share everything, you share the economy and you share the consequences of each country on doing that product, then it's fine. But if you're not, then you're not
because that's where people rate things. They go, we're going to pay you so much for all your oil. Oh, you're left with nothing. Oh, well.
Exactly.
Consequences aren't ours.
So you have to share every consequence and have empathy for everyone. If you're going to get the benefits of taking something from them in terms of material, you have to care about them as well.
I think we have really got to a stage now where we have connected.
Well, we are. You and I.
No. Well, we are now talking about things that are connecting. We're talking about things that do connect the world. We're talking about these connecting systems of economics.
Well, I really think I can really pull these two things together. I'm really excited about your idea about connecting people to the farm environment and stuff, and not only with growing food, but I'm so excited for the idea of people connecting with the meat that comes on their plate, because to me that is, if I believe it, if everybody looked on the internet at a video of how the meat gets produced, they would not be okay with that. They would not be okay with that.
Food Incorporated, Food INC, or Earthlings.
I was eating some chicken at the time.
Documentaries, watch them. They're free online.
And I think
I couldn't watch Earthlings. It was too much.
When you're going to do anything or consume anything or impact anything, you need to understand exactly what you're doing to your environment to get that in your life. And it's not only and connect that with it's a disconnect that's in food that is exactly the same with things like killing people with a drone. It's like if you're going to do something and you need to understand and connect with that and not understand exactly what you're doing so you can appreciate it. If you're going to kill someone, fucking you better know why, and you better appreciate the shit out of why you're doing that so you can understand the consequences. It's the same with killing an animal to eat it. It's the same with growing food. It's the same with everything. Yes,
that's why
brilliant. I love that.
That's why you've got this term that's coming in called permaculture. So what permaculture is, it's called permanent culture. Permaculture. So permanent culture is you leaving the earth in a better state than the way you found it through the use of technology. Okay, so we grow, we learn, we develop sustainable technology. So then when we leave, it's in a better way. So in a number of 3 or 4 generations, we're living in a utopia, because technology is completely related to food production, to anything that we need to be able to survive peacefully on this planet. Okay, so, you know, we leave the place with more fish than when we found it, because we know a way to be able to get the environment to work better for us. Even though our population's growing, the environment is also growing because we're using sustainable methods. Here you go. Which is the opposite of what we're doing right now.
Well, the corporate culture that we have now, everyone wants to work for a corporate. Corporate culture is raping the world. It's all about profit. And until we stand up to Wall Street and occupy that fucker, till we get people thinking on their feet, till we actually start being smarter, we're lost. We're probably going to die out. It's as dire as it is. And the facts of the matter is that 3 of us sitting here can't do it. We need to spread the word.
Definitely.
And people need to be ready to do something. And and actually do something, not just when it comes, but every day do something.
Think it, breathe it, talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're sitting at family with your dinner, I can't bring this stuff up now because it's not kosher. It's not the dinner conversation we have. It is. It's
Ask
important
friends.
shit. Global warming. Everyone's going to be underwater in our lifetime.
Ask your friends to turn off their electricity for 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
Ask them to look at what they're using. Just electricity. But then ask your friends to stop eating so much meat. I know that is a bit of a vegetarian, vegan kind of thing to say, but maybe only eat meat 3 or 4 times a week, not every night. Just cut things down and try to make a difference. And if you try to make a difference, and then you tell your neighbours, and they try to make a difference, I know this has been said since the 60s.
Yeah.
Stuff will start to happen. Ask your government what's going on. Write to your local official.
You know what the difference is today, but we've got the fucking internet, motherfuckers. And do you know what the internet does? It gets your voice to many people.
Well, it connects us all, doesn't it?
It gets your voice to more than one person or the 3 people in this room. Yeah.
That's right.
So the internet, your Facebook page, how many friends do you have? What, 2, 3, 4, 500 people? Great. Do you know what? If you start posting stuff about positive change in this world on your Facebook page, people are going to see it. They're going to have to fucking see it. They might think you're a bit of a fucking strange motherfucker to start with, but at the end of the day...
And defriend you.
And defriend you. No. But at the end of the day, you're going to be talking about positive things, putting positive things out into the world.
Make some change. Do something... If anything, if you have the ability to just cut down a meal by 1 meal of red meat, it's going to help.
One favour, like this podcast.
Help somebody.
Like it, share it.
Help somebody out. Start thinking about the ways that you can change the world in a tiny way, and if we all make these small changes, something's going to happen. And keep listening to the podcast. Things are going to get better. I understand that Jess and Sean have got some really amazing guests coming up this Friday.
And no, we've got amazing people coming up. So we're just getting started with this. This is a constant thing. It's never going to end. We're gonna keep spreading positive messages throughout the world. That's all it's about. Positivity.
And if any of you steal my Kids and Farm School idea, you can have it. Make sure it happens. If you do it, do it better than I would. Make sure everybody hears about it.
This is a good way to end the podcast, Chris. We need a name. We need a name for that. We need a name for this idea on the podcast recorded. We need a name.
I'm going to keep it simple. Kids and Farms.
Kids and Farms.
I like it. I don't mind it. I think Kids and Farms.
Connect the kids.
Kids and Farms. Connect the kids.
Perfect.
What? Just make it bloody happen.
No. Farms.
That's huge, man. Like, I think that's we've just hit the first big discovery on this podcast. That's why we do these conversations. We talk about this shit so we can, get to the bottom, like really dig deep in our mind.
Now we need to write everybody an email and say Kids and Farms, and spread the idea.
Great. I like it. I love it.
Write your local representative.
No, don't. He won't do anything.
No.
Well, write it and let them see that that's what you want.
My beautiful friends who do listen to this, and I thank you all so much.